In this chapter, we're going to take a look at creating methods in Ruby, or just simply functions would be another way to talk about this. A lot of times functions are called methods when they're defined within a class definition. Sometimes in Ruby, we just call any type of function a method, whether it's in a class or not. So we'll call what we're going to do in this chapter creating methods, but understand that we're really just creating functions, because we're not creating these methods within a class definition. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to call this methods P1 because this is the first part of our lessons on creating methods. In this first lesson, we're going to look primarily at creating value returning methods. Then in the next lesson, we're going to look at methods that don't necessarily return a value but are used for their side effects. To create a method, we start with the keyword def, for define, you might say, and then we provide the name of the method. What we're going to do here is create a method to square a number. So we're going to write the name of the method as square. We follow that with the parameter. In this case, it's going to be a number, which is going to be squared. To return a value from a method, we can simply write an expression, or we can use the return keyword. Let's do it just by writing an expression first. So to square a number, we simply take the number and multiply it by itself. So our definition of square can be num times num. We finish our method definition with an end, and now we're ready to use it in a program. So we'll create a variable, we'll assign it a value, and then we'll say number square is equal to square number. And so to call the method, we simply use it in our program, and we provide an argument which will match the parameter in parentheses. Then we can print that. So let's take a look and see what we get. So taking a look at our program again, we see that number was assigned the value 2. We called square with that variable as the argument, and squared 2 to get 4. 4 was the return value from the method, and it was assigned to our variable and then displayed. Another thing we can do with a method is create a method with multiple parameters. So for example, let's write a power method that will take a number and raise it to a power. This time we'll have two parameters, the base, the number we're going to raise to a power, and then exp for exponent, which will be the power we're going to raise it to. So this method will take a little more work. We'll do it the long way using a loop. So we're going to have to create a running product variable. Then we're going to say while the exponent is greater than 0, multiply our product variable times the base, and then subtract 1 from our exponent. And then when we're finished, let's do it with a return this time. This will make those of you who come from a more traditional language like C++ or Java happy to see the return there as a very simple and easy to understand way of recognizing this is where the method returns its value. So we're going to modify our program below so that it prints a new line after we print the number squared. And then we're going to take the number squared and raise it to the third power. We're going to put the method call inside a print, just to show you that methods can go any place a regular expression can be placed. And we'll call power with our number squared variable and 3 because we want to raise it to the third power. So let's save our program. And we'll call it. So we see we get 4 for the number squared, for 2 squared, and then we get 64, which is 4 to the third power. So let's take a look at our program again. So we've seen two ways of creating methods with either a single parameter with 1 or power with multiple parameters. And then we've seen two ways to return values, either by just providing an expression or by returning a value, which is still returning an expression, but here we explicitly return the value by using the return keyword. So that wraps up this first lesson on methods in Ruby. And now we're going to move on to the next lesson where we're going to look at methods that do not return values, but instead are used for what we call their side effects.